Hey everybody, here we have the Mermaid Seabeast, or just Mermaid, either way you prefer it. So yeah, this is a gift for a good person called Becca. I enjoy her company a lot. Practically family. At least I consider her as family. But anyways, this creature is for her specifically. As you can see, it's not a typical mermaid, or at least not a traditional one by any means. The idea behind it is that it was sort of like a type of ancient primitive tetrapod type fish, if that makes any sense. Something in the vein of Tiktaalik, that more stick towards the ocean and stayed how do you say partially terrestrial, not fully, but it could still kind of crawl and scamper about on land if needed with its large, powerful forelimbs. And as a result, its tail became sort of in the same manner as a flounder, where the one side of it is just completely flat for easier access. And I'm bleeding for some reason. Wow, would you look at that? I tell you guys, I fucking leak like a 10-gallon hat filled with fucking patchouli. Oof. God, I should have said human blood instead. That's less gross. But, what is it? What the fuck was I going on about? Right. I've actually never had patchouli, or not even fully aware of what it is. Either way, so, alright, like I was going on about. So the tail fin is pretty much always flat, and as a result, makes this creature a somewhat sloppy swimmer. It partially undulates up and down in a similar manner to a cetacean, and it is venomous. It is venomous in various regions. The spines here specifically, and as you can see, it is adequately colored to show this off, and yet still gets tested by several predators, just like this individual having a piece at the end of its tail missing, and then this part of its tail is a little chewed up. But, shit like that happens. Here we have the underside of it. More flashy, what is it? Pretty much stay the fuck away from me, in nature speak. Patterns. Got it running down the tail here. But, essentially, the humanoid structure on the end of it here is, and yes, the boobs are nostrils. For everybody wondering, I thought it would be kind of funny, but at the same time, I thought it'd be an interesting piece of anatomy. Like, for the fish, to have like the breastises of the human type structure be its nostrils. Plus, it could flare them, make them larger. That's even funnier. But as you can see here, the spines are even brighter colored, with a few varying patterns on the side, mostly streaks, but as you can see with this one in the middle here, sort of like a prong shape, the three-way trident type shape even. But yeah, let me think here for a minute. Right, well, at some point in its ancestry, it started preying on terrestrial animals combing the coast, one of which were early hominins searching for food, and over time, it pretty much acquired this sort of mimicry. Not exactly perfect, due to the fact that it wouldn't run into humans all the time, and the fact that within the murky, silt-filled waters of the coast, it would have to rely more on sensory over hearing or sight, while it does have decent eyesight. So this sort of large proboscis kind of evolved as a sort of dual tool, if you could say, like a multi-purpose tool. There we go, that's the word for it. With all of these sorts of, all these sorts of ends on it, helping, giving it amazing sensory abilities, while at the same time being used as a lure for its more simian prey. I guess to give you guys a demonstration, essentially, a bunch of drunk frat guys in a boat. They're all drunk as shit, and they're fucking goofing around, making asses of themselves on a boat, fucking mooned a few people driving by, driving by in a different boat. And when they see, one of them in they see this thing in the water, essentially this part sticking out, you know. It has decent motorary functions, you know, these can move up and down decently, and with the fish shaking parts of its head can essentially make it look like a person in the water that is either drowning or trying to get the attention of somebody. In this case, the fish could read the signals of the odd behavior of its prey and reacted accordingly, pretty much waving its pseudo arms up in the air, you know, trying to get the attention of the prey, you know, like, hey boys, that kind of thing, but without the voice, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, gnarly, man, fucking lady in the water, you know, fucking them jackasses. One of them jumps in, fucking goes like, hey babe, how you doing? Ah! You know, gets fucking eaten, you know, from the horrible jagged teeth, you know, these straight up tusks. And yeah, that's pretty much that. The fucking gets eaten. In terms of the sculpt in and of itself, these teeth are a little wonky. I'm not very happy with that. This one tooth is perfect. It's nice and straight, while this tooth, I fucked up. That's pretty much what I'm going to say. I fucked up. The resin did not dry right, and I didn't get to it in time, and it became this bulbous, loogie-looking thing. But, you know, hey, what you gonna do? The rest of them look pretty nice. Green mouth, kind of these red lips. I tried to, red lips and gills with yellow highlights. I tried to make sure it didn't look like it had dick-sucking lips, because I know that seems to be a common thing in some monsters, especially the fucking Ultraman franchise. God, why do they give so many of their monsters dick-sucking lips? Like, that's, what the fuck's up with that? Like fucking Mikkelus? I gotta make a Mikkelus figure, but like a more badass version that don't have that bullshit. You know? I feel like my version of Mikkelus would have like kind of saggy, sort of grizzly bear type lips, you know? To where they're not fully attached to the gum, you know? I feel like that'd be a cool look. I gotta make a Mikkelus figure at some point to do that. And for everybody who doesn't know, Mikkelus is like that bison-looking kaiju, the weird one. The one that's inspired off of, Incan or Aztec masks. I think that's what he said. But anyways, more biology-wise on this creature. Eats a lot of worms, like I said, mammalian prey. Fish that it can catch. Doesn't mess with mollusks too much due to the fact that it's not really able to crack open the shell with these sorts of teeth, so it stays away from them. Dolphins are a preferred prey item whenever they can get their hands or their mouth on them. This fish is around 8 to 9 feet long on average, with females being slightly bigger at around 10 feet, with the males being smaller at around 9.5 or 8 feet long. Like I said, they are venomous. You know, they don't, they got all this coloration to pretty much tell all the bigger predators to fuck off and don't mess with them. Which works most of the time. But, you know, I already went over that. But, yeah, that's pretty much that's the mermaid. What gave me this idea was, one, I remember about, last time I was in Maryland, which was about I'm trying to think here for a minute. 2 years ago, maybe? I'd say about 2 years ago. I remember having a conversation, or being in a conversation with Becca, and they brought up mermaids, and she supposedly believes in them, which, I mean, hey, why not? Fuck it. With all the fucking crazy shit they're finding nowadays, I don't know. It wouldn't even fucking surprise me. Some fish that happens to have some structure that looks like a person, or fucking aquatic ape that's really good at fucking hiding. You know, who the fuck knows, man? Fucking crazy ass shit that exists in the world. Wouldn't even surprise me. I mean, the fucking platypus exists. You know what I'm saying? At that point, I mean, what is it? How do you say that? I'm open-mindedly skeptic. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sasquatch I believe in because there's a lot of fucking evidence to support they exist, and in my opinion it makes more sense for them to exist than for them not to exist. Mothman? No. That isn't a real animal. You know what I'm saying? Like, Loch Ness Monster? No. Like, it fucking changes appearances if it had changed appearances for like decades until they went on and said, oh well, it's a plesiosaur now, you know, because King Kong was popular, and the Brontosaurus was kind of like a plesiosaur in that movie, so fuck it, you know. If you guys wonder where I'm getting that from, do some Loch Ness Monster research and you'll see what I mean. It's very inconsistent. Really got to make some versions of the Loch Ness Monster in figurine form. There's a lot. There's a fucking lot, and a lot of them are cool looking. I really got to get on that. But, yeah, so we had that conversation. She said, oh yeah, like, they're not really pretty like they are in the movies, you know, they're more ugly. And that's what kind of... What is it? That's kind of what kickstarted this, more or less, was that and the video. God, Thought Potato, I think the channel's called. The channel's called Thought Potato, and it went over the biology of several mer creatures, which it was a mermaid, a siren, and a Okanaluk, I think is how you pronounce it, like an Inuit folklore creature that snatches children, which I found it interesting because all three of them were not related to each other in the slightest. The siren was a fish that, lo and behold, would mimic, would mimic prey item, or primates that are beachcombing the shore for food, with mimicry, vocal mimicry, which you can see where I got the idea for that. That's blood on my hand, sorry about that. This pretty much, you know, except for his had a little bit of like the visual mimicry, and then was mostly in the voice, you know, mimicking a crying child. Well, this merbeast here is fully visual mimicry. Like it doesn't make any noise, you know, it doesn't have the right vocal cords, nothing like that to mimic human speech or screeching or whatever, you know. People do screech a lot, and that's what I find funny. Everybody's like, oh, we're better than animals. Meanwhile, whenever something that they don't understand is freaking them out, they're like, I wonder what that sounds like. You know what I'm saying? Like fucking, like we're all a bunch of fucking monkeys, folks. I'm sorry to break it to you. We're not superior. We're all a bunch of fucking monkeys with fucking ego problems at the end of the day. Not me. I know what the fuck I am. I embrace it. But, what is it? Right. So yeah, I got the idea from Thought Potato's channel, which he comes up with some really fucking cool shit. He came up with the whole zombies, vampires, and werewolves being viruses. Like it's like a virus that's transmitted. I know with werewolves it was a bite. It was like rabies. It transitions from a canine to a human via bite, like rabies. And over time, it slowly pretty much configurates your body structure to fit that of a canine, more or less. And it only affects canines and primates. Which the implications of that is interesting, because if a wild dog who had that disease bit a baboon, then there could be like a werewolf baboon creature, which sounds fucking amazing. But that and like the zombic virus, yeah, like there was, which I mean that's usually a virus in media, but the way you did that was really cool. Like the zombies typically only last for like a year. That's if they find food. Like they pretty much break down over time. It's like chronic wasting disease in deer, but for humans, except that it turns you all fucking aggressive and hungry for flesh. And then the vampire one is where shit gets probably the most interesting, because it's like, does all sorts of crazy shit to you. Makes you like a perfect predator among humans and all that shit. But, you know. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. The mermaid. I'll give you guys one more look over it. Oh, right, so that, sorry, I know, I never shut the fuck up. But, that's kind of where it gave like this whole ugly kind of appearance to. Was like, I tried to make it at least somewhat charismatic looking, funny enough, like with the eyeballs, but at the same time make it realistic and grotesque. Like the eyes here, they're not real eyes, they're fake eyes, you know, but I tried to give it that kind of shiny, dead inside, kind of deadite look to it, you know. And like even the hands, man, like the hands aren't perfect either, you know, like it's kind of a sloppy mimicry, but can you really blame an animal that only runs into primates just enough to kind of push this sort of evolution? When really, What more pushed the evolution was being able to hunt prey in murky waters. And hey, if you're going to make some long-ass proboscis with a bunch of sensory organs on it, why not shape it into one of your prey forms? Or one of your prey items, you know? Pretty much kill two birds with one stone, or as I prefer to kill two pedophiles with one bullet. Yes. I prefer that version because I don't want to see birds get killed, especially with stones. Pedophiles, however, I like seeing that. I like it when they get killed, you know? Fuck, honestly, they should bring back the hangings for them. I believe that shit. They're like, oh, it's a fucking mental disorder. That's not fucking right. No, it ain't. It's a sexual preference, and it's a disgusting one. And honestly, yeah, like the fucking whatever. I don't know. I don't know nearly enough about it, but I know if I'd fuck anybody up who ever tried that shit. I wouldn't even need to know the person or the kid, but if I saw some shit going down, yeah, I'm going ape shit. Literally, I'm going ape shit on the person. Give them a Mangani style mauling. And I could go to jail. I'd go to jail happy knowing that at least I did something right in my life, which was fuck up a pedophile. But either way, sorry for getting all personal there, guys. You know, hey, give you another good thorough look around the mermaid here. But you know, hey, it's America, you know, we're able to speak our minds, or, well, at least back then we were supposed to. Now they don't really encourage that anymore. You ever notice that? There used to be like, speak your mind, do all this shit. Now they don't encourage it because they want us to be good, obedient workers. They don't want us to speak our mind anymore. They want us to follow fucking orders to a T. And it's working. More and more people are like fucking drones nowadays, and I notice it. It's whatever, though. God, I really went all out the ass with colors on this one, which I'm glad, you know, it needed this. To me, it needed this to be visually appealing, for sure. Because it's not a very visually appealing animal without all these colors. It's just kind of a ugly-ass fish with a weird growth on its nose that happens to look like a person. At least, like, with all of its growths and shit here, it's a lot more interesting to look at, for certain. But, yeah, that's pretty much it, everybody. You know, let me know what you guys think in the comments, you know. That's the only thing I give a fuck about is the comments. I just like seeing what you guys gotta see. I don't give a fuck about likes or subscriptions. It's all dumb bullshit, you know, that all the YouTube whores want. So, you know, honestly, I don't need any of that horse shit. I just like a comment, you know. Fuck it, just somebody to type back and forth to. But anyways, that's pretty much it. So, oh, shit. That's pretty much it. So, I hope all of yous have a good day, all right? Take care of yourselves.